And this one is done. Sort of. Like a brontosaurus in cosplay. I wanted to use what I was paying for. That is not the reason that I got rejected. I didn't pay attention when I purchased the pattern, and that's on me. That is gonna be, I think, my jam. Hello my friends, welcome to another video. If you are new here, my name is Chris and I make videos about my small crochet business, the Enchanted Skein. Back in January, I made a video about my process for setting goals, both in my personal life and for my business now. And I set 3 business goals along with 3 action items that I could get started on right away for each of those goals. And in that video, I committed to doing a quarterly check-in with you as kind of an accountability tool. We are already in mid-April, so I was so tied up and busy with trying to get the shop open and everything like that, and my spring market, that I did not have time to sit down and get everything together to be done for the first quarter, but it's close enough. We'll see how the rest of the year goes. If I feel like there's not enough to do a full video as an update, then maybe I'll just slide those updates in with other videos. But yeah, we'll see how things progress. Let's do a check-in to see how we're doing with the goals. The first goal for the year is to do 3 markets. My 3 starter action items were number 1, to attend a market that's being held at the local zoo that we have here. It's about an hour away, I say local, but it's the biggest zoo in the area called Zoo Miami. Number 2 was to go through and search everywhere I could to figure out what markets were available to me. And number 3 was to make a list of at least 5 contenders that I would be choosing from for this year's markets. I mentioned in one of my videos not too long after setting this goal and these action items that I decided not to go to the Zoo Miami market after all. There's a couple of reasons for this. Number 1, I don't necessarily love zoos and I didn't think I would feel great while I was there. And number 2, when I thought about what I would have to have as my makes on my table to make that market worthwhile, I wasn't really thrilled about making those things. And we've talked about it a few times. You know, I'm trying to make things that I enjoy and that I love and hope my audience will find me, rather than boxing myself into what's popular or what I think is going to sell. If I was doing a market at a zoo, I think the expectation would be a lot of your typical zoo animals, as well as maybe like dinosaurs, because they do have a dinosaur exhibit. Those were the only makes that I was kind of looking forward to. So I kind of scratched that off of my action list. I did pull a list of all the markets that I could find. Only a handful are actually local to me. And when I say local, I mean like 15-20 minute drive, 30 minutes max. Everything else is a good hour away. There are some evening markets and some things like that. So I did create a list and go through those and just kind of say, you know, interested, not interested. And I narrowed things down to those 5 contenders. Now, if you watched my spring market recap, you already know I did go to my first market already, and that was one of the ones that was on the list. I know for a fact that market number 2 for the year is going to be the one that's in late September. That's that Halloween themed market, which was my first market last year. And that left me with trying to figure out what market number 3 was going to be. And at the time when I was narrowing my list, I had 3 contenders written down. The first one is the Not Your Mama's Craft Fair, which I did last year. And that one is very local, which is a great pro to that. Mr. Skein goes to that one with his students and he has a booth there. So there's a little bit of a fun interaction there. But the only downside to it is outdoors. I don't love an outdoor market. I'm a little spoiled on the indoor and air conditioning. We're in South Florida. Even in November, even in December, it is hot. It is humid. It is gross outside most of the time. So I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out. It's definitely still a contender because it was a good market for me. It's small. It's super local. Like I said, it was so nice to just pack up and go home and be home in like 10 minutes. But so that one's on the list. The second contender is with the same organization that I did my spring market with, and I will have done the Halloween market with, the POTTC. They have a winter festival market, so kind of like a Christmas themed market. And that one is a week away from Not Your Mama's. If I was super rambunctious, I'd consider doing both, but I don't know that I'm going to be able to swing that. So those 2 are contenders. The third contender that I had for that is a market called Bucklers. And I mentioned last year I actually applied for that market, but I did not get in because they said they had too many crocheters. That market is actually held in the same like convention center, expo center as the ones that I've been doing. So I kind of knew the lay of the land, but I heard that they drew in even a bigger crowd. So even though I got rejected, I went to it as an attendee because I wanted to kind of scope everything out. And I wanted to see the crocheters that were there and how many were there, like what was their cutoff and things like that. So I did attend the market, and at the market, I didn't see many crocheters, and the crocheters I saw didn't do amigurumi. I think there might have been one. And I thought to myself, you know what, this year I'm going to apply and I'm going to let them know that there's a difference between crochet, because the person who makes wearables doesn't care that I'm there, and the person who makes like dog beds and things out of the really giant hand, crocheted items doesn't care that I'm there. We're not competition for each other. And then I was hoping that maybe I could get in this year. But I learned that is not the reason that I got rejected. At that market, I did some shopping, of course, and I went into a booth that I really liked called Enchanted Crystal. Not just because of the name, but a little bit. But they had some really cool things, and I did a little bit of shopping there. And at my spring market, I saw their booth was there, but this time their booth was twice as big. So I walked up to the woman. I was like, hi, I bought from you when you were at Buckler's. I'm vending here too, nice to meet you, all that. And I said, wow, you guys have expanded. You have a double wide booth here, whereas at the Buckler's, you only had a 10 by 10. And she's like, oh, that's just because I can't sell everything there. I have to filter my products. And I was like, what? I go, what do you mean? And she goes, well, they're a very, very religious group. And in their contract, they do not allow anything that is like mystical, magical, chakras, witch, wizard, any of those things. And I was like, really? Are you kidding me in this day and age? And she's like, yeah, they do not allow it. So I have to filter down what I'm able to sell because I have a lot of mystical, magical things. And I end up with only enough to fill a 10 by 10 booth. I was kind of shocked, but I was laughing. And Mr. Skein's like, I knew that might have been it because my tagline is handcrafted crochet with a touch of magic. So I guess I am too magical for the Buckler's people. She was like, oh, if you filter down what you make, you can still do it. It is a good market. I was like, you know what? No, I'm good. I don't want to be where someone doesn't want me. So that is not going to be my crowd anyway, I would guess. So I decided, yeah, I'm not even going to bother applying because I probably get rejected anyway. So now it's just a matter of deciding between those other two. I have market number 2 lined up for Halloween, and that is going to be my major focus. That is going to be the heaviest prep. That is going to be, I think, my jam. That is going to be where I shine. And then the other one is just going to be to kind of wrap up the year with some holiday sales. And I do love holiday themed things too. It's just a matter of which one it is. They both have really great pros and cons, but I'm going to make that decision a little more towards summer when the applications open up. Goal number 2 was my website. And I narrowed this down for myself. I said that not only would I stand up the website, but I was going to have a home page, a place to share my free patterns with you, and an About Me page. I mentioned in my lessons learned that I had purchased a full-blown website package from Squarespace for like $195 the first year of my business, but I never used it. I just forwarded the domain to my Etsy site, and I was not going to let that happen again this year. I wanted to use what I was paying for. My website was renewing in March, so I knew I kind of had to either like get going or decide not to renew it. So I did lots of research on what I wanted to do, and my 3 starter items for this were going to be to set up the structure of the website. So like colors and, all the things that I would want. Research the catalog options so that when I was ready to open a store, I would know, what I could put in there, how that worked, and then to create the homepage. I can cross this one off the list, sort of, because I did all those things. The site is up. You can visit it now. It's linked below. However, I did all those things on Squarespace thinking that was going to be my platform. I was going to have my shop there. I was going to do all the things. I am making another video about that. It's probably going to be the very next one after this one, where I get into the details of the mistakes that were made and the assumptions I had and things that I thought would work on Squarespace that would not. But now I have a bit of a disjointed experience. I have the shop on Shopify and I have the Squarespace website. So, yes, I did achieve those things, but I now have to redo them. I want everything in one place, and I certainly don't want to pay for 2 platforms when I only need 1. It feels a little bit like I'm starting over, but I'm trying to look at it as a learning experience. I'm going to share it with you guys and hopefully save someone from making the same mistakes that I did. But yeah, so this one is not truly checked off the list. And goal number 3 was to release a crochet product and sell it either online or at a market. My starter action items for this were to narrow down 3 things that I was going to prototype, because I have a list of like 10 crochet product ideas. So I wanted to narrow it down to 3 that I would actually work on. And number 2 was going to be to generate the actual prototypes for each of the 3. And number 3 was to research and refine until I got it in a place that I felt like it was ready for release. I did get my hook keepers released and my switch markers released, and this one is done, but I'm not. I did achieve this goal. I can cross it off the list for the year, but there are still so many things I want to explore. But I'm pretty confident that I'm going to reach all 3 of these goals. I think the only one that is not really within my control is if there's any kind of, weather event or something that ends up canceling one of the markets. I don't have like 5 planned so that I can get 3 done. But that's really the only thing that I can see happening that's going to prevent me from achieving these goals. And I feel a lot further along by April than I expected to. So as for now, I am just trying to kind of figure out a balance for myself. I don't have a ton of free time. If you don't know, I work a full-time job, so it's evenings, weekends, early mornings that I spend focusing on Enchanted Skein. So I'm going to kind of divide that time up, but I'm going to use how I feel to do that. So the things that I'm going to be focusing on are restocking for the shop, working on new enchantments for my switch markers because I'm excited about some of those and some of the themes that I'm thinking of, transitioning the website from Squarespace to Shopify, prototyping for the next products, and of course crochet. And speaking of crochet, let's get into this week's makes. Right before the market, I started working on another Stella, the Flower Dragon by KP Crochet Patterns, and I didn't get it finished. My intention was to bring it to the market, but that didn't happen. For this one, I took a little bit of inspiration from Kim at Crafty Chaos Emporium because she was working on an item and she was using I think it was a teddy bear. She was using lavender and mint. And it wasn't a color combination that I had thought to really try, but it was beautiful and I loved how it turned out. And I told her so in that video. I was like, I'm gonna try that. So that is what I tried for this guy. So here he or she is. This is made with Naughty Pony, a 5.5mm hook. The Naughty Pony for all of the lavender color. The mint color is Mint by Premier Parfait Chunky. These eyes are hand-painted eyes from Christine at What's Up Cupcake. I don't remember the colorway because I took the card off and I put it in my little container that I keep my eyes in. But I have been wanting to use these eyes and I just couldn't find the right make, and they were absolutely perfect for him. They are 25mm eyes, by the way. This is all yarn under. Here's how he's looking on the back with his little wings and his tail detail. But yeah, I love him. He turned out really, really great. It's simple. It's pretty quick to make. I like the look of it. It's not a splooter, but kind of can sploot. Next up is the Standing Dragon pattern by Crochet by Jenna. So let me show you my Standing Dragon. This guy is made with Premier Parfait Plush in their kind of deep red and black color. I love this color combination. He was done with a 6.5mm hook, yarn under, and then I used some of the Amazon fur, the Nicey fur, I'll link it below, but to just kind of add some details to him. Before adding those details to him, I was not at all happy with him. But let me give you what I love about it first, and then we'll go from there. So I love the head. I love the shape of the head. I like the spikes instead of ears on the side. I like this detailing here. He's got hand-painted eyes that have kind of a black streak in them. I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's the only thing that I really love. I didn't pay attention when I purchased the pattern, and that's on me. I saw Standing Dragon. I saw Crochet by Jenna. I added to cart. I ran. I loved his head. I was looking at his face. I didn't pay attention to the body. I don't like this body at all. I like that he stands, but I feel like these outward pointing feet, and they're round little nubs, they just don't feel dragon-like to me. It feels like a brontosaurus in cosplay. I don't know. I just don't like it. So it's probably not a pattern I'm going to make again. If I do make it again, I'm going to probably make my own feet. The other thing I didn't love is that this starts with a 6 in a magic ring, and I'm not 100% sure why a lot of designers do that. I think most of us will get some conage, or, you know, if you have tight stitches, you're going to get a bulbous look there if you're starting with 6 versus an 8 or a 10 or even a 12. So I followed it. I wanted to see, and sure enough, I was bulbous. So I just did some kind of body shaping there, I guess. He had a little tummy tuck. But yeah, the wings are your standard chain out wings. I added the fluff. I think that helped them a lot. But yeah, I don't love it. I want a standing dragon, but I want it to look like a dragon. I debated embroidering some, you know, not toe beans, claws on here, but I just, at the end of the day, I was like, I was done. I was tired of making this guy. So I think he's fine. I think he's gonna sell. I think his face is incredible. He's gorgeous. And I think someone's gonna get swept away by that and wanna scoop him up. So I'm not worried about that. Back to this color combination though, I love it so much. I last year made a devil bear, and that pattern was excellent, and that one sold right away. I'm gonna do this color combination on it. It was a brighter red. I think this would look incredible on a devil bear or like a Baphomet. I don't have any more of this Premier Parfait plush. When I do my next order for Premier, I will include Parfait plush because I think those guys would really sell. I love that color combination. So yeah, that's all the makes I have for you this week. It's not a ton. I was just getting back into my crochet groove. I have another dragon on my hook, and I have purchased the Sleeping Dragon pattern by Nooks Hooks because I'm dying to make that one. So hopefully by next week's video, you'll see some extra makes there. But yeah, that is all I have for you today. If you have not already subscribed, I hope you consider doing so. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.